Hello. I am very excited. I've turned the broadcast on and we're live to the world right now, which is really exciting. And if you are all just chiming in and you're tuning in right now, please you go to your little chat there button and then type in hello from wherever you're from. You could be from New Zealand, you could be from California, anywhere you are from. So I would love to say hello to you. And while we get, hi from Santa Monica. See what I mean? California. Great to have you on as people are getting on. I'm really excited. Here's a preview for today's call. What do you think these are? These are tuning forks. So we're going to talk all about these in just a little bit with a master specialist. And I'm very excited about this. So hello, type in where you're from. Hello, Margaloo. Hi, good to see you guys. And Taipei, beautiful, wonderful. Well, it's a beautiful experience to be live all over the world. I really, really love this. And I'm so grateful to have this interactive experience with everyone. I'm wearing my glasses today because I can't see, my other glasses haven't come back yet, so I can see so much better with them. So sorry if I look like a geek, but no, I think the glasses are beautiful things. So I just haven't worn them on air before. And I'm just so excited because I can see. It's really exciting. So we are doing this wonderful show called Motivation Mondays for a reason. And it really applies to the statistics around Mondays. Commonly, there have been studies done specifically in the UK that say that people don't, even the average person won't crack a smile until 11:16 a.m. That's not okay. It also shows that Mondays are 30% less productive. That's not okay. I think it's a great day to be inspired, to get excited. There's also statistics that are pretty daunting about it. It's the highest day of the week for heart attacks because people are stressed and they disconnect from their tribe over the weekend that they were so connected with over the weekend. And then they come into Mondays and they go to work or they're in more isolated environments. And this is why we created Motivation Mondays, is because it's a chance for us all to connect together with our tribe and to also have interactive one-on-one experience with each other. And you will be able to ask my guests questions during this entire call. So you'll exercise the raise your hand function there on the bottom if you want to ask a question, and I'll call on you. And you get to be a part of this show with real, true interaction, connection, tools and techniques that you can use throughout the entire week. It's wonderful to be able to inspire positive growth and change in yourself and others. So I'm very excited. And today is that exact thing. We are bringing you new and cutting edge information that'll help you really truly improve the quality of your life. That's what we've always done on the Aware Show for 20 years. This particular environment is a way to get us really connected and all over the world connected. So remember, you get to raise your hands to ask questions. A couple of announcements first. As you know, I have this wonderful show on Gaia TV. I've been broadcasting on Gaia for 7 years. And Gina, who's down there, who's the executive producer of the show, she and I have hosted and produced 211 shows together on that network. We started the network, very, very first show on the network. And we're very proud of that because the shows that we create on Gaia are deep and meaningful conversations. My guest today, Jonathan Goldman, and we did an amazing show on Gaia together. Really, truly incredible show on Gaia together. If you want to check out one of the shows, if you are a subscriber to Gaia, check out Jonathan Goldman's show. And if you are not, you can check out theawareshow.com/Sue, and you'll be able to see the show in its entirety without being a subscriber. So either way, you can check that out. And that's very exciting. So either way, we want to just be able to share that information with you. Okay, so Jonathan Goldman, my guest today, is a true, incredible pioneer in sound healing. He is a Grammy-nominated recording artist. He has also been named on one of the Watkins 100 most spiritually influential people. And he talks about sound having the ability to rearrange molecular structure. So this is what sound healing really truly is. It's the use of sound as a healing tool. And it dates back thousands and thousands of years. The latest research suggests that sound healing can utilize frequencies for manifestation and transformation. And Jonathan is here to talk about the many, many ways that sound healing can impact our health, our divine connection, our planet, our heart opening, the connection with all of us here. Welcome, Jonathan. Thank you for being here.
Oh, Lisa, what a blessing it is to be with you and all the amazing people who are resonating with this particular frequency on this Monday. And shall we say that this is going to be a manic Monday for sure between the two
Just
of us.
another manic Monday. You know what? I love it because sound connects us all. It's one of the things that you and I and everyone here can connect to is sound. And it's a frequency. It holds a frequency. Why do you think it connects so many people?
Well, I mean, this is not a short answer, and this is one that's actually going to make me put on my thinking cap because, as usual, you ask me really, really incredibly deep questions that have not well, I can say yes, because sound is universal, because the world was created through sound, and because of that, when we begin to work with sound, we basically are as one. We are, if you like, a unified field of consciousness using sound, which is true. But on another level, you can get a mystic, if you like, approach saying that indeed, what I was just saying, because we are indeed in a state of vibration and everything is in a vibration, when we start working with sound, we really coalesce and interface with that vibration. That's one thing. But on a scientific level, when you begin to make sound, you get the release of those extraordinary trust hormones that basically cause us to break down all the barriers that exist between us, and all of a sudden we do become one. And part of it is a hormonal thing, because making sound, whether it's listening to sound or dancing or singing, causes the release of, among other things, oxytocin, which is the love or the trust hormone. So that's on a scientific level why oftentimes we feel in resonance with somebody else.
That makes a lot of sense. So it connects us as a trust factor. I've never really thought about that before. Trust factor. Yeah, that makes sense. You hear me, I hear you, and we have this, I take that for granted.
Well, also, I mean, if you think about it, our viewing, listening audience is also picking up these vibratory fields that you and I are generating and, feeling this themselves, because, it is also, and I'm going to acknowledge it's possible to be talking to somebody and boy, it may be something they're saying, or it may be something else that is a sound that you can't hear, but somehow it's interfacing with you and you don't feel quite good. And I'm really so appreciative of the fact that you and I have a lovely resonance, and I trust that everyone who's watching this is picking this up. But you've had the experience of talking to somebody and going, how can I leave this room type of, everyone has,
I notice that sometimes when I turn on the radio and I hear the hysteria in the news, it's hysterical sounding to me. It's like, it sounds so nails on a chalkboard sometimes. And it's not, I can feel the frequency of the hysteria that some news outlets really want you to feel.
Well, what's so interesting, I used to be a pretty well-known disc jockey some years ago, and it was really interesting because at first I was a total unknown, and so they put me on late at night. And when I had pseudonym, I was Jonathan Shade, the Night Stalker. And hi, I am the Night Stalker, and I'm going to bring you some nightly sounds that are going to really bring you deep peace and relaxation. And talking like this is very different than when they basically put me on drive time, which is, hi, I'm Jonathan Goldman, and it's now really time for you to get, and it's so interesting how our voices and the tempo of the music, which were linked to one another, affect our nervous system. That's one of the key elements of the whole aspect of sound. There's mystical and there's spiritual. And one of the, if you like, not mystical and spiritual, there's mystical and scientific. We'll get that. Sometimes the spiritual and the scientific are the same, but the scientific is the fact that the nervous system oftentimes gets affected by sound.
Mm-hmm.
We can reduce our stress with sound, or we can increase our stress with the wrong types of sound.
You do a lot of scientific research around sound, don't you?
Well, I try to find out something about it. I have dear friends who are great, wonderful doctors and scientists who really, really know this stuff. And I come from a family of doctors. My father, grandfather, and brother into the medical field. So I have a great respect for this, but at the same time, oh golly gee, I am on a level a musician at heart, and because of that, there's an aspect of music which I like to believe remains magical and will never truly be understood by the scientists, because there's an element of how it affects us that is going to be way beyond, it's quantum in nature, if you like. It's working on such a deep, deep level that we're really never going to be able to understand it.
Hmm. Well, I know that it's something that we hear and experience and feel, but there's a lot of research around how sound can actually heal. And I know I just made a rhyme. I did.
No, I was just about, but you press one of my buttons, Lisa. And this button is the button of there are two, which is, I usually go two like this, the peace sign, and which we need now more than ever. But there are two basic ways that sound can heal. Number one, it goes into our ears, into our brain, affecting our heart rate, our nervous system, our respiration, our brain waves, our blood pressure, things like that. And that's really, really powerful. And whether we're talking like this or listening to music or whatnot, that's one way that sound can really affect us. Because as you know, boy, are we all pretty much stressed out.
Yeah.
And if we can somehow use sound to just reduce the stress by listening, how powerful. But the other way that sound affects us and heals us is called vibroacoustics. That is, the sound goes directly into the body, on a cellular level, goes down to our DNA, can even affect our molecules, putting into balance that which is out of balance through sound.
Okay, so when you find a frequency that is in balance, and if you could talk about the balanced frequencies that have the solfeggio frequencies and the different frequencies that are in harmony with our earth, and then how you could rebalance the body utilizing those frequencies.
Well, it's so interesting, Lisa, because as you know, I mean, I'll bring these out here now, and you and I can both go, hey, tuning forks, hey,
Really, really cool.
Remember, and these are way cool, and these tuning forks put out what is called the Schumann resonance, which is a wonderful frequency that you can actually use, and you can, among other things, listen to it, and your brain begins to entrain or vibrate to the frequencies of what are called the Gaia matrix, or you can put it on your body and actually put the, if you like, frequencies of what I like to perceive of as being nature into your body, which oftentimes is really restorative. But I think that the most powerful tool for healing is her voice. I mean, I've got so many toys. Here we go. Here's another wonderful tool for healing. You hear the dolphins talking to you? So this
Got
is
water in there.
yeah, this is a Tibetan bowl with water in it, and that, if you like, technique was shown to me actually by a Native American medicine man, and he showed that to me, and he picked up the Tibetan deep voice. It was the strangest thing. He was up visiting one time. We had this sort of energetic exchange, and I was going, wow, okay, there you are. You got the Tibetan deep voice, and I somehow learned how to make dolphins come out of a Tibetan bowl. So, what can I say?
That's really cool. You just made a didgeridoo sound with your voice. That's incredible. I want to make sure that everyone here who's a part of this show here know that you can go down below and you can enter things into the chat. So if you're experiencing something that you are hearing or feeling, let us know, because that's the interactive part of the show, which I really love. So we're talking about the Schumann resonance, and this is the frequency of our Earth. Is that right? Did I get that right?
Well, it's actually, Lisa, the frequency of the ionosphere of the planet. And
Oh,
it
wow.
was okay, and it was discovered in about the night. Actually, it was postulated. I'm going to get scientific now because I have researched this, because we put out tuning forks, and I want there to be like data on this. So it was postulated first by a German scientist named Otto von Schumann in the 1950s. And then in the 1960s, other scientists throughout the planet basically validated the fact that there was a frequency that was, if you like, the fundamental frequency of the Earth, and they called it the Schumann resonance. And it is, no secret, 7.83 cycles a second. And people say, so what? And I say, so what? Indeed. But it is speculated that indeed, if you can either listen to the sounds of the Schumann resonance or encode them in your body, that it can have therapeutic effects. Now, with that in mind, I have a really important thing to say, which is simply that since the Schumann resonance was first discovered it was discovered, as we said, by the scientists and postulated by Otto von Schumann, but when it was first found, they have found that it basically has gone up and gone down and gone up and gone down. So that 7.83 is, if you like, the fundamental bass tone of it, not the but the median tone.
Okay.
But the reason it goes up and the reason it goes down is because it is basically an electromagnetic frequency of the Earth. It's vibrating like this, and it's affected by sunspots, by lightning, and by other weather conditions. And all these things will cause the Schumann resonance to slightly alter its frequency. And with that in mind, I will say that there are some beloved people who I know who are well-known scientists in one field, and they speculate that the Schumann resonance is actually rising in frequency. And this is actually not true. It simply goes up and down and up and down. Because in order for the Schumann resonance to actually change its frequency, you'd either have to change the diameter of the Earth or change the speed of light.
Oh, so it just appears that it is because it's undulating.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah. So at points it could be higher, and at points it could be level.
Totally. Sometimes it goes very high, but at the same time, sometimes it goes very low. And it sometimes also has harmonics within it. And this is a whole another subject. But the Schumann resonance, fascinating phenomena. And I think, everybody these days, because sound is really, really coming into being. And people are,
Yes.
finding out more and more about sound. And as they find out about sound, everybody's looking for what I call the magic frequency. And I just don't know that that exists.
It's many frequencies, I think, are magic. I really do. It's not just one magic frequency, it's many. And it's how you experience those at different points in time in your day or in your life. That's, I think, what the experience of sound is. It can never just be one note. Wouldn't that be horrible?
Wouldn't that be boring? I mean,
Yes,
really, my goodness gracious, it's like, okay, pick a color, and that's the best color there is,
ever.
ever,
Yeah.
and that's the only color that people are going to wear, and, that's all we're going to look at is that color because that color is the healing color. Oh,
Right.
my goodness gracious, I don't want to live there.
Right, right, exactly. So we use these different frequencies, these ranges to heal ourselves or to experience, a sound experience. Like you can heal with sound, like we've been talking about. Now, if you use sound frequency to heal your body, we talked a little bit about in the beginning how to manifest or set intentions using sound. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, Lisa, I'm going to put on my professorial hat for a minute, if you can. My mystical professorial hat. How's that?
We like the mystical professor. Yes.
I do, indeed. It's somewhere between Harry Potter and Albert Einstein. I'm not sure what.
Dumbledore. Okay.
And okay, so if you examine the beliefs of the different spiritual traditions on our planet, you find that they have a commonality in the belief that sound was the basic creational force. In the beginning was the Word, and the Lord said, let there be light, sound preceding light. In India, they say, not a Brahman, the world is sound. There are all these different, if you like, myths, legends, stories from the elders about sound being the original creative force. And indeed, our physicists today now are in agreement that indeed, they may call it the Big Bang and that, or it could have been the cosmic hum, which I trust we'll talk about in a little while. But regardless, the idea that sound was the original creative force and that everything is in a state of vibration, from the electrons moving around the nucleus of an atom to planets and distant galaxies moving around these faraway suns. They're all in motion. They're all potentially putting out a sound. Now, listen, we hear in what is called sound travels in cycles per second. It travels as a wave and it travels as cycles a second. This is called its frequency, okay? And we hear from around 16 of these frequencies to around 16,000.
Wow.
But our friends in the ocean, the dolphins, can make and perceive sounds upwards of 180,000 cycles a second. That's more than 10 times our greatest level of hearing. And, they may be talking about, the best way to get through the Bering Strait, or perhaps recipes for tuna noodle casserole, or maybe, they're talking to the star Sirius, whatever, something like that. But there's able to really probably encode encyclopedic information on the different clicks and different sounds that they make. To us, nothing's going on. To dolphins, there's a whole lot. So the idea that the scientists and the mystics are in agreement, everything is in a state of vibration. And this includes our body. Every organ, every bone, every tissue, every part of our body is in a state of vibration. And when we're like this incredible orchestra that's playing the symphony of the self, if you like, okay? And when we are in a state of health, we say we're in sound health.
Yes.
So
Sound
what
mind,
happens?
sound health. Yes.
Yeah. What happens if the second violin player loses their sheet music and they're playing out of tune, out of harmony? Pretty soon the entire string section sounds off. Pretty soon the entire orchestra is going to sound very funky. And this is, if you like, akin to a part of our body that has lost its natural resonant harmonic frequency and is playing out of tune. This part of the body, it's playing out of ease, out of harmony, and we say it's diseased. And the very concept of using sound as a healing modality is this. What if we could somehow give that string player back their sheet music? What if we could somehow give to project, if you like, to that part of the body that was vibrating out of correct frequency, the proper tone, resonant tone? And that's basically, not only is that if you like, the key or a key to sound healing, but it's also, whether it's aromatherapy, acupuncture, even chiropractic is based on that. Many, many different healing modalities are into that whole concept of putting someone back into resonance.
Ah, exactly. It makes perfect sense. Even, when you go and you see an MRI, a functional, resonance imaging, you see the frequency of the body and how it relates to different parts of the body. So everything really is about frequency. And when you put it back into harmony, that means that there's no dissonance with a discord with the actual frequency of the body. I think it's everything that we know around us, you can relate back to sound. As you said, it's the basic creational force, which I love. So I also want to mention that you have a whole experience that people can go to. If you visit the website, which is theawareshow.com/Jonathan, you have done an entire course on this with the Shift Network, right? Tell me about that. That's exciting.
That is exciting. And Lisa, I have to say that I really think it raises the bar on many online courses. We literally, because it's a sound course, we worked with a multi-microphone setup and multi-cameras as well. And I'm very, very pleased with the outcome. And it's beginning actually this coming Thursday. And it's simply designed to do nothing more or less than change your life for the better.
I pretty much wouldn't expect anything less from you, Jonathan. I mean, you really have a very high standard. I've always loved that about you, is that you have an impeccable standard for everything that you do, which made our show on Gaia so much fun, because you really are so detail oriented. Tell me a little bit about the course. And again, if you go to theawareshow.com/Jonathan, we'll put that in the chat for you, by the way.
Well, I don't know really where to begin, except it was created as a step-by-step process of vibratory activation using sacred sound.
Ooh.
And we start out first learning how and why sound actually works, because to me it's really important to have a sort of left brain aspect of knowing it, whether that's the scientist, doctor part of me or whatnot. And then at the same time, it's really important to have the actual experience yourself in order to make the experience real. So a lot of the different modules, as they're called, are really designed to give you experiences, because, Lisa, if you don't experience it, then really it's not real for you.
Right.
And if it's not real for you, then what good is it? But as soon as you experience it, then it becomes real, and then all of a sudden your life changes.
Yeah. So in this particular experience, so it's theawareshow.com/Jonathan, and it's JONATHAN. Got that right. And
Thank you for spelling it correctly. It is one of the most misspelled names. JONATHAN. Thank you.
Yes. So this is when we talk about sound healing, and we can talk a lot more about the frequencies and so forth. When we talk about this, sound healing is something to be experienced. You know how I just saw this movie on the Beatles, and it was called Yesterday, and it was this. Did you see this show? And it was really about how their music influenced an entire, just a culture shift. It really changed the face of music, because they had a specific sound that resonated with the culture that was happening, with the truth that was happening. And when you match those things together, and with the tie in a revolution, then you've got an incredibly successful era of music. That's just an example of how sound can make a difference in a culture, in an entire era. this is what frequency can do. You're about to say something. What did you want to say?
Yes, I mean, you know my wife Andy, and we went to see yesterday on the opening day.
You
And
did?
I must tell you that we met via the Beatles, uh, and we are still Beatle maniacs, if you like. And we were not disappointed with that movie. I loved it. We loved it so very, very much. And so thank you for mentioning that because, whoever did it, blessings to them. They did a
Yes,
good job. It was great.
I liked the message. It was to bring back the Beatles music to the millennial crowd, and it was a great idea. Yes, introduce.
Yes,
Yes,
indeed.
and
And
but it
what,
is an idea.
so the Beatles, from my perspective, probably said one of the most, if you like, I don't want to use the word prophetic. I don't know what the word is, most cosmically aware. And it came from literally the last track on Abbey Road. And in the end, the love you make is equal to the love you take.
Oh, I love it. Yes, I love it. You and your wife met through the Beatles music?
Okay, well, this is a Manic Monday story, and I'm sure
Okay,
she wouldn't mind.
I love
But
it.
we were both going out, and and she was just the finest person that I had ever met. And you've met her. She and I have written books together. We teach together. She's just a great being. And as I was saying goodnight, I happened to see that on her uh, shelf next to the door, there was the Beatle anthology. So this was about in 1994, 95. It had just been on TV. Neither one of us had watched it. We weren't living together or anything like that. And she had asked a friend of hers if her friend would tape it. So a friend did tape it. And I said, "Oh, you've got the Beatle anthology. Maybe I could come back sometime and watch it." And she said, "Sure." So I kept coming back. And I think we were both a little afraid that if we watched the Beatle anthology, the mojo would go. So it was about 3 or 4 months before we began watching it. And I will just tell you that that's been at least 25 or more years, and the mojo has not gone. But we give thanks to the Beatles, and, blessed be and let it be.
Let it be. I love that because it does show how this is a great story of how sound and frequency and music brings people together. And yes, it does. And yes, we know that, but you've done so much more research on this on a scientific level. Not only have you experienced in your own life, which is the level that most of us know about it, but you've researched this, you've done experiments on it, you play with these instruments all the time. You've even probably healed your own body with it. How have you seen sound heal?
Okay, so Lisa, here's a quote from the New York Times science section. And this was not yesterday, sorry, not punning on the movie, or today or tomorrow. This was from February 8th, 1988, the New York Times science section. And it was in the subheader of sound shaped into dazzling tool can make, break, or rearrange molecular structure.
88, wow.
Yeah, so this has been around for a while. It's just, for me, it's like when I see some extraordinary revelation that has made it to mainstream news about perhaps, sound able to destroy cancer cells or sound being able to work with neurological disorders or whatnot, I'm totally grateful. And I keep thinking, what took you so long? Because basically, this knowledge has been around probably since the ancient times. I mean, remember that Joshua was able to bring down the walls of Jericho with sound. And that is, if you like, another phenomenon, another way of working with sound. One way is to reinforce the organ. And basically, when you reinforce an organ that is being attacked by an intruder, the intruder falls away. Another way is to literally focus on the intruder with sound. And just as a crystal will shatter with the right frequency. So viruses, bacteria, etc., will do the same sort of thing. So it's a very, very interesting phenomena.
That makes sense. I was listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza this weekend, and he was talking about he's never been sick and he's never had to take any type of antibiotics, and he just travels the world. And he said whenever he starts to feel a little scratch in his throat, he does a meditation where he matches the frequency of the organ with with the image of the healthy organ. So he does this through a deep, deep meditation and this transcendent meditation. You basically can take this frequency of sound through something like a tuning fork or through a resonant frequency, and you can match it to the organ of the body and restore its health, right?
Well, that is very, very true. And one of the things that I'm going to cough with you, just so we can resonate together. Okay. Okay, there we go.
Because I have a sore throat.
And they were coughing in the same key, so that's something. It's all right. Okay. So the idea, is that we can use sound to, if you like, resonate different organs, different parts of our body, even our brain with, well, that's a part of our body, of course. And one of the, if you like, greatest tools that I've been working with lately is something that I began to work with close to 40 years ago, and now I've come like full circle, and I'm back to doing it, and it is working with the hum.
Okay.
And a lot of people go, oh, the hum, what can the hum do? The hum can do some extraordinary things on a physical level, on an emotional level, on a mental level, on a spiritual level. And in fact, you can take the hum, and if you project the correct resonant frequency along with the intentionality, I think you can basically heal anything. No medical claims are being made right now, but I'm just saying that there is the potential of doing that. Because if you can, rearrange vibrational structure working with sound, what can't you do?
Well, let's try it. Let's try the hum. Can you do this?
Well, I'm not sure now that, if you like, the facilities of the fabulous microphones that I've got tuned in, but here, this is one where I'm going to suggest that if you really want to hear some good sound and you're interested in this further, that you do the fabulous Shift Network's Sacred Vibrational Frequencies online course that I'm doing, because the sound is superb. But nevertheless, and this is a great exercise. Right now, we're not going to do anything other than bring a little bit of relaxation into our lives. What do you think about that one?
Sounds great.
Okay.
Sounds fantastic.
So what we're going to do is simply take a couple of nice deep breaths. And indeed, let us all, please, on the next deep breath, if you can, hum along. Let's all hum together, and etherically we'll be able to pick this up. And I'm going to close my eyes, because I love to close my eyes when I make sound. I'm not falling asleep, folks, but this is a great way to chill out if you are at all stressed out. Take a nice deep breath and taking another nice deep breath. And just one more deep breath. Just sit in that place of silence after you've made the sound. Because, Lisa, I don't know about you, but I got myself a bit of a blissful buzz from simply making that hum
I
3 times.
I have to tell you what's happening. So I have had this, my daughter has been sick. And
Hmm.
so I, of course, got the bugs. And I was just having a little bit of a coughing fit right before you did that. And it's gone. That literally just happened. It's peaceful. It's
You know,
peaceful in
it's
my throat, in
interesting.
my chest.
I mean, you can, some things you can get, but some things that are seemingly pretty easy to get rid of simply by working with a hum and projecting your intention on there. And you may not have been even projecting intention when you're doing it, because sometimes the sound goes where it wants to go.
That
But
is fascinating. That is fascinating. We literally, she has tonsillitis, and the we literally were at the doctor, and the doctor said, "Oh, you need antibiotics because you have a chest infection." And I don't want to do that, but I also know that if I match the frequency with what you're talking about, I can calm that down in my chest.
oh, Lisa, I'm going to have to go into a story now.
That's fascinating. That's my own personal experience. I will share that. That was amazing.
Well,
No
thank you.
problem here.
So my story is this, and I really appreciate that. But I need so powerfully to bring in the importance of intention whenever we're making a sound.
Yes.
Because I think that is one of the focal points of helping us create the right frequency. I'm going
Yes.
to stop for a moment and just quote a dear, dear beloved friend of mine who's in the angelic realms now. So, everyone passes over, if you like. So she's working from the angelic realms, but she said, the true sound of healing is love. So I want to first, encode that into our consciousness and then tell you a story. I was going to Lesley University, and I was literally collecting all this information about using sound and music for healing. And I had a stack of papers that were about yo high, literally piled on top of each other. And they were all different systems that these scientists, spiritual masters, mystics had given me back in the very, very early 80s about how, sounds, frequencies, tones that they'd use for healing. And I was putting it all together for my master's thesis, and I thought, boy, this is going to be easy. This is going to be great. All I'm going to have to do is just put this all together. And then what happened was that I found that scientist A would be using a particular set of frequencies for one organ, and scientist B would be using a completely different set of frequencies for the same organ, yet they were both claiming to have success. And this was at the beginning of the sound healing, the modern sound healing movement, so there was no reason they should have been making this up. You'd have spiritual master X who was using a certain series of mantras for the chakras, and spiritual master Y using a completely different system of mantras to be resonating the chakras, the etheric fields of the body, and they just didn't align. So, Lisa, I was in a state of intellectual angst, if you like, and I remember sitting there with my head in my hands going, oh my God, how can this be? And this inner voice said, it is not only the frequency of the sound that creates sort of the effect. It is also the intention of the person making and receiving the sound. And I
Ah,
wrote down the words frequency plus intent equals healing on this computer screen, and it was flashing back and forth. And that was almost 40 years ago, and I think it's more valid now than ever because Joe Dispenza, among other people, is one of the people who's talked about the power of intentionality, whether you call it the placebo effect or whatnot. Bruce Lipton is another person. A lot of people have seen the wonderful water crystal work of Masaru Emoto, and it goes on and on. So we're becoming aware. Wayne Dyer, I mean, you can now turn on your TV set and watch a PBS special on intention. When I first started, going out talking to these scientists, did you ever think about the importance of intention when we're working with sound? They kind of look at me like, who is this guy and who let him in here? But now it's like, it's real. So I just want to share with your audience the power. You make a sound, put the intention on the sound, you got it.
Fascinating. That is true. It has definitely become such a popular conversation, and we're understanding the more subtleties of frequency now more than ever. And yes, it's becoming common, which I really love. And when you really work with somebody who is a master at this and has researched and studied this for 40 years, it sounds easy to say, but Jonathan's done an enormous amount of scientific research and worked with some of the best people in this entire field around sound and frequency and therapy around sound, which is really incredible, which is why I think his course is incredible. And I know that Jonathan puts so much into it. If you want to experience that, you can go to the website, which is theawareshow.com/Jonathan. We have it up there. And this is also a great time for you to ask questions. If you have any questions about sound healing for Jonathan, Anna here, and I'm not quite sure if you can raise your hand or not, Anna, to ask, but she wants to find out how to learn what is the best healing frequency. So is it specific for different organs of the body or just for each individual person?
Lisa, thank you, Anna, because if you like, there are a few things that I really believe. One of them is the true sound of healing is love. Frequency plus intent equals healing. And we are all unique vibratory beings. So that to find the frequency that is healing for you may not be the frequency that is necessarily healing for someone else.
Okay.
And I use as a metaphor the fact that if everything in the universe is in a state of vibration, this includes the fabulous pharmaceutical drug penicillin. And whenever I do a workshop, I ask, okay, how many of you are allergic to penicillin? And anywhere from 5 to 20% of an audience is allergic to penicillin, which means penicillin is healing for 80 to 90% or even 95% of the people. But for 5 to 20% of the people, it is toxic. And I think that is an incredible metaphor for all things, not only sound, but literally pharmaceuticals, various types of light therapy, all sorts of different therapy. Mm-hmm. Not everything works for everyone. At least I have yet to discover it. They used to call it the magic bullet. I call it the magic frequency. And I like to suggest that it's really great because, as you were saying before, if we all like the same color or whatnot, what a boring world this would be.
Right. Well, that's why there's such beautiful range in sound as well. There's gorgeous range in it. And what you're going to be teaching in the course, and well, mostly the course is going to be an experience for someone. So yes, you're going to be teaching, but you will be able to experience the healing frequencies of sound and how that makes you feel. You'll be able to, like to Anna's question, learn what healing frequency works for her body specifically. If you have, if it's a sore throat, if it's migraines, if it's, physical issues, if it's emotional trauma, it also has a resonant frequency for that, right, Jonathan?
Well, what is so very, very interesting And it's something I stress over and over again in terms of this course, but in terms of life, is that we are our own best laboratories. The more we work with ourselves and the more we experience things with ourselves, the better we become at it. It's like, when someone says, oh yeah, meditation, I tried it once. Well, that's not really the way that you're going to become an adept at meditation. Now, I do my very best, from my perspective, of doing what I call harmonic transmission, of encoding the sounds that are created with healing energy for everyone in the audience who's watching and experiencing this. But once again, you gotta practice. You gotta do practice. You can't think, oh well, I've done something for 2 or 3 minutes. Now moving on to the next thing. Once again, I'm back to working with the hum, and I have been humming probably a lot of my life, but I'm doing it on a level now, in a depth level that is beyond. Lisa, just as a fun thing, okay? Just because. Okay, will you play with me for a minute?
Sure.
Okay, I want you to start humming and then pinch your nose, okay?
That doesn't work.
No, you can't, because the thing is that you can't. Here, I'll do it myself. Just you can't hum if your nose is pinched. And I say to people, okay, you thought you knew about humming. If you didn't know that very simple phenomena, do you think perhaps there are other magical mystery aspects of humming that you might pick up and learn? And I'd like to say that that is true. We're going to also be working with fabulous tuning forks, that the Gaia Matrix tuning forks, which, as we talked about, can not only encode your consciousness with the, if you like, energetics of the field of the earth, and therefore allow you to enhance your, resonance with the earth through the tapping into what is called the Akashic field. We're also going to be working with these extraordinary sacred Pythagorean tuning forks, which are basically so cool in terms of being able to balance the left and right hemispheres of the brain, cause us to really get into a really deep mode of relaxation. Quick story, I have a dear friend who is an accountant, and wonderful being, and during tax season she gets really stressed out. And Andy and I introduced her to these tuning forks and basically showed her how to use them, and she's now got them on her pencil holder, and when she gets stressed out, she just she uses them on herself, and she's much more chilled.
Well, I noticed that you actually can use sound for lowering stress, lowering blood pressure, increasing melatonin, various stress relievers in the body, that it actually literally can start to change the body's chemistry, which is
yes. And also, if you like, sound is the most powerful, from my perspective, of what is called the subtle energies, okay? People perceive of acupuncture or chiropractic or therapeutic touch or any of a number of things as subtle energy. Well, sound is a subtle energy. It is just a very, very slow-moving subtle energy. However, that puts out these things called harmonics, which are, if you like, sounds within sounds that are generated that go up ultimately into the speed of light. So sound is not only slow moving, it is also, because of the harmonics, extremely fast moving. So it is, if you like, the entire spectrum of frequency range because of that.
By the harmonics?
Excuse me?
What do you mean by the harmonics?
Okay, so harmonics are sounds within sounds. And I am not going to go into this one right now, Lisa, because I have seen people, once I drop this bombshell, they basically almost go into a, oh my God, how can it be? But just as when you take a prism and you hold it into white light, into clear light, and it breaks it into the different colors of the electromagnetic spectrum, one single sound is not that particular single sound. It actually is a whole spectrum of mathematically related frequencies that go outward and continue multiplying upward and upward. It's a little bit like if I were to say, okay, there's a table in front of me, and this table over here is actually mostly composed of empty space. Now, people nowadays would go, oh, sure, but a couple of 100 years ago, if you were to say that to somebody, they'd probably go, yeah, right, that type of thing. So sound is an unbelievable, if you like, vehicle of, that's why the ancients, if you like, talked about sound being the original creative force. They understood the multi-leveled aspect of sound. So harmonics I talk about, I trust nobody's brain is going like this because I try to keep it very, very simple, but harmonics are an extraordinary aspect of, sounds that occur. And
that makes sense. Sounds within sounds. Well,
sounds within sounds that continue to multiply upward and maybe bridges to other planes of existence.
yes. Well, speaking of other planes of existence, the website that I'm giving you there, theawareshow.com/Jonathan, is to sign up for a free video event that Jonathan will be then using and doing these tuning fork healing and frequency, vibrational frequency, to elevate consciousness and to promote overall well-being. So this is to an experience, and this is free, to go there and join in for an hour of just working with Jonathan around sound, which is very, very powerful. So you'll get a chance, just go to their website, theawareshow.com/Jonathan, and then you'll get a chance to spend an hour with, Jonathan, who's, been doing this for 40 years and really pioneered the modern sound healing movement, who I'm speaking with here. He's very humble, but what he's done is quite extraordinary. And then you'll get to be in this free class with Jonathan and receive this tuning fork frequency and feel what it feels like. We've been talking a lot about this on the show, but you'll get to actually experience the release of stress and the relief from it and the elevation of that feeling of bliss that Jonathan explained earlier, and your overall well-being. The fact that I got rid of that coughing attack with humming in a tuning fork was pretty crazy, which is perfectly wonderful. I love it. It really, and it also, as Jonathan said, frequency plus intention equals healing. And I wrote that down. Frequency plus intention, your intention will equal that healing. So sign up for this wonderful, just reserve your spot right there. It's a free video event with the sound healing through humming and tuning forks, and really be a part of this healing experience. I'm really excited that the Shift Network has put you, in touch with us to do this. I've known you from before, but you've done this, and you get to give people a whole experience. So go there right now and sign up for it. Again, the website is theawareshow.com/Jonathan. It is a free video class. So you'll really get to experience this. And that's what this is all about, is learning and being a part of the knowledge of this, but really feeling it and having that personal experience for yourself. Everyone wants and needs a chance right now to elevate our consciousness. Jonathan, the noise out there right now is so strong. And to be able to have an opportunity to rise above that noise, I'm all for being informed. Got to listen to the news, have to hear what's going on in the world, but you've got to have a break from that as well and be able to reset, especially if you're going to get any sleep. Really, it's very important. So I'm looking forward to that class. It's going to be wonderful. Great.
Lisa, I do want to suggest that, as you may know, my purpose of being on this planet is to help elevate the consciousness of all sentient beings so that we can literally live in harmony together. And the most powerful and easiest tool to do this is simply by working with sound. So my purpose, if you like, is to raise the awareness of all beings to the power of sound. And I have done my very, very best through this wonderful sacred vibrational frequencies workshop through the Shift Network. And I really would like to suggest that if this at all interests you, try it.
Yep.
You'll like it.
It's free. Take the class. I mean, take the, go for the experience and really experience it yourself. So you'll get all the information there. Go to theawareshow.com/Jonathan. And I appreciate you so much, Jonathan. Your knowledge is incredible. Your ease and effortlessness is a result of your body of work. So I really appreciate you walking your talk. Thank you. You're fun.
Lisa, I really need to say that you are an extraordinary, resonant being of light and love through sound. And it is an honor to know you. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Well, you want to put those together because
I know that everybody who's listening is also operating off of the same frequency. So hello, everybody, because you are great too.
yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you to Gina and James, who have just the backbone of the Aware Show and all that you do. I love you both, the Aware Show angels. And also thank you, Jonathan. And thank everyone for being on this call. There is a replay that will be available if you want to share this with anyone else. It'll be up on YouTube. And if you just subscribe to the Aware Show YouTube channel, you'll be able to check this out on YouTube in about 24 hours. So you can share it with friends. Again, go to the website, which is theawareshow.com/Jonathan. Thank you so much, my friends, and thank you. Until next time, I'll invite you to stay aware. Bye. Thanks, Holly.